connect. Talking the talk with Kate and Jim, and walking the walk, just listening. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixing transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixing transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Keeps a positive spin while Kate's doing the Mickey hazard name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like let me stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixing transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Jim always keeps a positive spin while Kate's doing the Mickey hazard name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like let me stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. Perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter, mixing transfer news is what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Jim always keeps a positive spin while Kate's doing the Mickey hazard name dropping. Gets you out of the blue and let you stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. Always keeps a positive spin while Kate's doing the Mickey hazard name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like let me stop rubbing, or she's flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm not sure why my husband's sitting there with a £10 note stuck to his head.
Well, you just messaged me and asked me if I had a £10 note.
Yeah, not for me, for Will's.
Oh, all right. Well,
I didn't ask if you had a £10 note stuck to your head either. I just said if you have got a £10 note.
I
noticed there was some moths just flew off of that. Is that because they've been in your wallet? I think I saw actually the Queen blink as well. It might have been Queen Elizabeth I. Is that currency?
It hasn't got an absolute crease in it.
Yeah, exactly. It's been in your wallet since the day they were printed. You silly what's it? But anyway, welcome to the perfect match. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. It's the day before the Europa League game. It's the day after Arsenal scraped a win against Shakhtar last night in a quite boring match, I thought. Very safe again for cowardly Arteta. But we moved. Jimbo, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I liked your thumbnail with Arteta.
Yeah, I know. Oh, he's cried. I cried, Arteta. He's cried. And Angie's looking all happy, like, hey, loser, over there in the corner. But it is a member show. We have got a member already waiting in the back. But before we bring them in, seems ever so quiet today, but it might be just because it's early. Let's have a quick look who's already here. We've got Rinketic in the chat saying big up everyone, hope you're good. All good here, thank you. We've got Scott Colliver saying hi Kate and Jim, big up to you. Shem saying hey Princess Kate, so Jimbo, hope you're both well. Taking mum to her favourite place again, the hospital, but for a pre-assessment appointment this time. Sent us all the way to Newham Hospital this time. Big love to you and your lovely mum, Shem. Send her our love again. Bless her heart. Hope it all goes okay. 65% Angus is here saying big up Kate and Jimbo. Shit performance last night, but we got the win. We moved to Liverpool and with even more injuries. Yeah, who did I see got injured last night? Bloody hell, I can't remember who it was. But yeah, it was what's the guy beginning with C? Calafiore, I think, got injured last night. I'm not sure, but I think so. But yeah, it was a diabolical performance from Arsenal. Again, really, highlighted what I was saying about Arteta being a little bit of a coward. You know, he's playing Shakhtar Donetsk, who haven't even scored in the Champions League this season, and he played the formation and style of play like he was playing prime Barcelona.
Is the dog with you?
Yeah, he's asleep on our bed.
Oh, right.
Big upside dancer, good to see you. Lisa, hello. She said, just got home from work now, chilling with my favourite couple. Loads of love to you guys, everyone here. Big love to you, Lisa. Good to see you. Also, good to see you, Mario. Good afternoon, guys. Come on, you Spurs. Spurs GCTV said, all right, my lovelies. All right, Spurs GCTV, Graham. Hope you're doing good. Afternoon, Kate and Jim. Hope both of you are well. Big up, Robbie. Let me know if you want to come on, Robbie, and I'll drop you the link, my love. Calafiore, yeah. Or as Drula says, Drula says calamari. But big up to you, Drula. Hope you're well, my love. Paul G's in the house. Good to see you, sir. Afternoon to Design to Win. Good to see you. We need to sell some Deadwood. Jesus isn't good enough anymore. No, he is poor.
I said that when they bought him, Kate, he's had his day.
Yeah. Arsenal won't finish in the top 2 this season, says Paul G. Interesting.
I agree.
Big up, Donovan. Hope you're well. Let me just send Robbie the link. Where is it? Oh, dear. It's coming, Robbie. It's coming. And so is Christmas, of course. But yeah, it's coming. Robbie, where are you, Robbie? Robbie. There he is. Right, I'm swinging it over to you now, Robbie.
You should have just asked me to do it, Kate.
What?
When you sent him the link and you could have carried on.
Well, why didn't you say I'll do it?
Oh, because you were singing and I was enjoying it.
Oh, all right. Big up, Donovan. Good to see you. Big up, Anthony Clark says, big up, Kate and Jimbo. Can't wait for the meltdown after we lose to Liverpool, draw to Newcastle, lose to Chelsea. Anthony Clark, you're making me quite aroused, even saying those words.
Let's get off the stream then, darling.
Yes, Arsenal losing to Liverpool, drawing to Newcastle, losing to Chelsea would be epic. Thank you for that. Jesus is the GOAT, says Rinketic. Good afternoon, Cole Simpson. We're good, thank you. Hope you're well. And Angus is saying, come Sunday, I'll take a point. Oh, that's not with chest.
No. You won't take a point because you're going to take no points, Angus.
Not only that, Champions League winners do not accept points. They want to win and need to win every game. Hopefully Arsenal will be your neighbours next week.
I think you've asked me, I don't know how many times over the years, would I take a point? And I've never, ever once said yes.
No, and it's the same as Dave Harris over at the Irish Hotspur. He will never, ever take a point. He wants to win every game. Drula says, Trossard missing that penalty last night. Do you know what? It was such a poor game. I don't even know if I saw the end. I fell asleep. But, how the tune has changed in a week. Our squad just isn't there anymore. I have a feeling Liverpool will win the league this year, and I hope you're right. That'll be the lesser of any evils. But we've got AJ and Rinketic already here with us. AJ, first of all, how are you doing, sir?
Well, this afternoon, I'm feeling good. I mean, I wasn't feeling good last night. Watching, apparently there was a football match on at the Emirates. Apparently, didn't see much in the way of it. What a boring, tepid, miserable, dreary, damp display of. You can hardly call it a football match. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. A team that, what had they created? They had one shot on goal, which was a penalty they missed, and they had 9 shots against Arsenal. 9 shots against champions elect. 9 shots against the best defence in the world. 9 shots against Arteta, the up and coming successor to Pep Guardiola. Get a life, get a grip. What a miserable, pathetic display.
Wow, that was an entrance and a half. I like it. Big up, AJ. I'm glad you came with such immense hatred for the Gooners. That's always welcome. And Rinketic, how are you doing, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're good, thank you.
Thanks.
Been a good week so far. Well, good since Saturday, and long may it continue. Obviously, it would have been better if Arsenal had lost, but I'm not being funny. When you watched that game last night, they did not look like a team who will be fighting for the league. They were dreadful.
I watched Dortmund and Real. I couldn't care about Shakhtar and Arsenal.
And to be fair, Real Madrid, wow, showing their minerals. 2-0 down, winning 5-2.
Was it 5-2?
Yeah.
5-3 or
5-3
was it?
5-2 or 5-3. Is there any possible way that Vinicius Junior doesn't get the Ballon d'Or?
Well, if he doesn't, it's robbery, isn't it? To be honest, I
agree.
mean, he ripped them apart. He's a sen. Oh no, sorry, Saka. I remember. I have it on good authority that Saka is better than Vinny Junior, and yes, Saka's in with a shout, no doubt.
Yeah, he will get an award for the best limp, I think, with Saka, best limping off the pitch. But we've got Robbie here as well from Lily White Lane. Robbie, long time no see. How are you?
Yeah, good to see you, Kate. Good to see everyone else on the panel as well. Hope everyone's doing all right, and looking forward to talking about Spurs. It's not that bad when you've just beaten West Ham and Arsenal are doing as poor as they are. So yeah, hope everyone's well and looking forward to talking about the fantastic Spurs.
Exactly. It's always good to talk about when times are good. There's nothing better than talking about Spurs. So obviously, I haven't heard from Robbie or Rinketic. So Robbie, I'll come to you first and just get your thoughts on the West Ham game and what you think about Ange and his tactical masterclass, shall we call it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the game. I thought first half we controlled the game, had a lot of the ball, but I wasn't too impressed with what we were doing with it, to be fair. We were whipping in some good crosses, no one was getting on the end of them, we weren't creating the chances. Second half, I was really impressed with what Ange did, to be fair. Now, since early this year, the end of last season, the beginning of this season, I've never said Ange out or anything, but I've been quite a big critic of him. I've judged the timing of his substitutions and what he'd done. He got it bang on Saturday, bringing on Papin Sarr, allowed Bissouma to push up into the 8, Kulusevski in the 10, which for me is where he's at his best. He's been unreal this season in the 8 as well, but in the 10, he looks different, great, he was mustard. And yeah, I thought the substitution at half time, not necessarily the impact that Sarr had, but how the midfield dynamic changed when Ange made that sub. I thought we were brilliant. And what I also saw, we dropped that line back a tiny bit. And when we were on the ball, we weren't just trying to keep hold of it, control possession. I think we had something like 55% possession overall in the game. So we didn't dominate the ball, but we scored 4 goals. We were catching them out on the counter a few times. We were brilliant. And then it also makes it better that we put in this performance against West Ham. The way their fans were going on heading into that game. Growing up, I've got plenty of West Ham, mate. So it's always good when we get one over them to rub it in their faces. And they were horrendous. They were absolutely horrendous. They're winning in the most minute way possible at the minute. I've seen all their tweets about Van de Ven going down and Richarlison and saying, we won the war, you won back. It's like, what are you talking about? You lost 4-1 and 2 of our players went down because one of yours decided to be an absolute knob and shove him in the face. So, look, it was a great day. I thought we played well. Hopefully we can stay consistent now, build on this, get some more confidence, but couldn't be more happy. No complaints about Saturday.
Yep, I think that's summed it up rather perfectly. Rinketic, do you feel Ange has silenced some of his doubters by the way he made those subs that absolutely, or the sub really, that changed the game at the weekend?
Well, at least from my perspective, no. Because for me, it's about consistency is key. He needs to do it next game. If he does this one-time thingy, what's the point of it? If we're gonna be honest, I'm happy with the win.
Don't sound like it.
No. I'm not. I'm happy with the win, but for me, it's about doing it again. So yeah.
Look, to be fair to Rinketic, when I went on the terrace for the match reaction after, I said it's no good winning twice and then losing 3 and then winning 1. We've got to have consistency. There isn't. The only time we've been consistent this year is in Europe, where we've consistently won. And please God, that happens again tomorrow.
Yeah, but we've consistently played well, Kate. Apart from the second half in Brighton, not including cup games. Right?
Yeah,
we've consistently played well, so the consistency's there. It's just getting them wins over the line, and we beat West Ham. So, like, let's go on to the next game. Let's not look at the negatives. Look at the positives.
Yeah, I agree with you. I do agree with you. AJ, are you of the same sort of opinion that where if we don't win on Sunday, the West Ham win really means nothing?
Of course, it means something. It means 3 points.
It doesn't not mean anything if we don't win our next match, because a win always means something. Winning even a point, getting a point, because a point could mean the difference between Premier League survival and relegation. So all points matter, all draws matter, all victories matter. But I agree, if we don't, sporadic wins, picking up wins, you're never going to change. You're never going to change people's mindset who think we're not good enough. The manager doesn't know what he's doing. If we win one game, lose one game, win two, lose what you need consistency. You need to have a platform on which to build. So dispatching of West Ham the way we did is a great start, and it's a great starting point. Yeah, ground zero. So we get a win tonight, and then we move on to the weekend and we get another win. Yeah. Then it's 3 wins on the bounce. We've put that abysmal display against Brighton in the second half to bed. We go on, we build, the players are all up for it. Ange has got confidence. He's got confidence in his team, and you keep moving forward. So it doesn't, if we don't win, it's kind of like Groundhog Day, and we need to pick ourselves up and go again. But it wouldn't mean that the victory against West Ham didn't count for anything, you know? So.
Yeah, I get that. Big up, Steve D. Just seen you come in. Hope you're well, my lovely. Robbie's disappeared into the abyss. And AJ, I think you meant we win tomorrow night.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry. Right. My mistake. Do you know what it is? It's because I thought this members. It's. I'm not the one that's pregnant, I don't think. I mean, although I haven't seen my toes in a while. But no, I thought because you were doing the member show tomorrow, so I had it in my head.
Oh, so it's my fault.
Yeah, of course it is. Jim, have a go at her. Put her in her place. Tell her off.
The actual idea was we wasn't going to do a show today, but then Joey Barton had a little hissy fit and said it breaks up his working day. And Jim went, we'll find something to talk about. And that's why the schedule all got changed. So it's actually Joey Barton's fault, then Jim's fault, then my fault. So, what can I say? Obviously, we have got AZ or AZ. I never know if it's AZ or AZ Alkmaar. I always say AZ because they're not an English team, but we've got them tomorrow. Vinketic, I'll come to you first. Ange is I think Ange is in quite a difficult situation with these European games. Does he need to make changes, and who does he need to change out, in your opinion?
Maybe 1 or 2 guys. Something easy. Like someone in the middle, maybe start Saar. And maybe start Mikey.
So rest. Who are you resting in the midfield?
Bissouma, maybe.
Right, okay. See, in my view, I think personally he needs to rest Kulu tomorrow. As much as Kulu's on fire, I think he needs a rest because he ran his socks off against West Ham. But at the same time, he's in a position, Ange, where he needs to take every game seriously. Robbie, what's your thoughts on the team tomorrow? Does he make changes? Who needs a rest?
Sorry about getting out there for a second. I mean, I've got this new Sky broadband installed. It's like McDonald's airport Wi-Fi at this point. But
really,
I think the lineup will be interesting. Yeah, it's really bad. It's better to improve Wi-Fi. It's the exact opposite, to be honest. But look, I think. Sorry, what was the question? The lineup for Thursday.
Yeah, we're talking about the lineup for Thursday. You're very in and out at the minute. You sound a bit like a robot. Oh, I can hear myself.
Can you hear me now? I'll cut out. We'll try and sort it out. The camera's going now. It's all falling out.
Right, while Robbie sorts his sound out, to AJ, I shall come to you because I thought I was talking to R2D2 or someone just then. Does Ange make changes tomorrow? Who does he change? What's your thoughts?
I think changes are needed, but I agree with Rinke. Whenever he has made wholesale changes, we have always struggled. We might finally get a hold of the game, but it's always touch and go. So we need a couple of changes. What I would do is I would bring Dragusin in, and I would rest Mickey. I think out of the two of them, Mickey and Romero, Mickey's the one more likely to pick up injuries because he gets through a lot more miles than Romero. So you need to start building that relationship between Dragusin and either one of them for when injuries do occur. Keep going with a separate back two of whether you're going to put Gray in that back two or you're going to put Davies next to Dragusin. You're not allowing anybody a chance to build up any sort of understanding with Van der Ven or Romero. That needs to happen. Unfortunately, Jed can't play. I would love to. I think I don't understand the thinking behind not including him in the European squad. He's done really well when he's come on. He puts in a great performance. I would probably rest Basuma and give Bentancur a go. But in regards to Kulu, I'd start him. Start Kulu, get the match sewn on, and then take him off. Give him 60 minutes, get the match done, get it sewn up, then replace him. He's too valuable a player. Everything we've done, everything good, all the numbers we're putting up lately, we're producing, have come through him. He's an integral part of the team, and he will be a huge miss if he's not there. So I think play him, get the game won, then get him off the pitch. Then you can start introducing your Mikey Moores. I don't think he'll start Mikey Moore. I think he'll go with Johnson and Werner up front. I think he'll rest Son because Son's only just come back from injury. For everything Werner does wrong, he does a lot right. He holds the width. He pushes extremely high, which is what Ange wants. He wants his wingers pushing high to occupy and keep the fullbacks engaged. And keeping the width allows the fullbacks to come inside, and it gives room for Madison and Kulu to operate. So I think it's easier to hook Werner if it's not working and bring on someone else than it is to bring Werner on later to try and influence a game. You know, that's not going to happen, is it? He's not a game changer. So I don't think there'll be wholesale changes. I would like it if there's not. But I think 2, 3 at the most changes, go with the main nucleus of the team that's been performing of late, and then once the game's sewn up, start making your changes.
Yeah, I saw you, Rinke, wanted to say something. What was you going to say?
I want to ask AJ though, because Alkmaar's front three, they're pretty rapid. Wouldn't it be better if they played the Mickey? Like the wingers are really fast.
No, I get that. Totally get what you're saying, mate. And the only way to combat pace is with pace, but you're gonna have to rest him at some point. Look at the runs he's made. He's made 2 lung bursting runs so far this season, and he turns on them jet propelled boots of his, and he's away. If he isn't rested and he's continually played, he's gonna pick up an injury. So it's about picking and choosing when is the right time to rest him. And I think a game in the Europa League when we've already won 2 back to back, I think if you're going to gamble anytime he's not playing, aren't you? The system we play heavily relies on him being that centre half that's going to come across, sweep and clear up. So the system relies on him heavily, but you're going to have to rest him at some point. And I think, given the choice between resting him tomorrow night, Kate, or on the weekend, I think it's a much safer gamble resting him tonight. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Vindaloo saying, anyone fancy a quick joke? Is it going to be Arsenal can win the league? Because we've all heard that one before. But big up Daniel Sandoval and Lisa as well, who have just come in. Jim, I mean, I don't really understand why you would rest Basuma when he's not really played that much. I would rest Kulu, and I know he's on fire, but I think he's going to need a rest at some point. What's your thoughts? Who does he take out this team?
Well, he seems to have energy, doesn't he, to burn.
Mm.
He's a fit lad. It's hard, Kate, because they're not a muggy team. It's not like you're going into a team where if you made like 5 or 6 changes, you still think you're going to win. They're not idiots. They're quite a decent side. So personally, I wouldn't make too many changes. You know, I would start with a really strong team the first half and see where we are at half time. Because let's be honest, it's a trophy we can win. There's no argument about that. So I would start with a strong team and maybe take Romero out, put Dragusin in. I would definitely start VDV for the first half, and I would start your doggy. Spence can't play, can he?
No.
So yeah, I would start with a strong team. I wouldn't mess around, Kate. Honestly.
Okay, but you say you're going to start with a strong team. Who are you going to start with?
Well, I would start with the normal back 5, including the keeper.
Okay.
Right? I would start definitely Pasuma, because you're right, he's not played loads of football, so it'd do him good. I would start Sarr, and I would have Sonny, Solanke, and Johnson up front. I wouldn't mess around with it, because if he starts with a bad team, and if he starts with not a bad team, but a team that's not our strongest team, we start chasing the game. It gets all messy again. So you're better off getting in front and then start making the changes gradually. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with AJ. I think he starts Werner all day long tomorrow night. Robbie, are you less robotic now? Will we be able to hear you?
I bloody hope so, Kate. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're fine.
Cushy. Right. What are we talking about? Fill me in. I've had to sort out my Wi-Fi.
Well, we're talking about what changes, if any, Ange needs to make against Alkmaar, or wherever you say it, tomorrow night.
It will be interesting. What I want and what Ange will go with, I think, will be 2 very different things for this game. I think he'll probably put Werner on the wing. I'd much prefer to see Mikey Moore. I think Mikey Moore's got potential. I really, really like him. And look, if these kids are going to come good that we hype up and stuff, you know, these are the games I think we should be playing them. And I think he will play a fairly strong side. I think he'll probably rest Son. I think he'll give Solanke a rest because he's been playing every game pretty much since Newcastle. But I think we might see a Romero, a Porro. The midfield will be interesting because there's 6 or 7 midfielders you could go with. And all 6 or 7 could start in either this game or Sunday's game. Sarr, Basuma, Bentancur, Madison, Kulu, Archie Gray, Bergwijn. So it'll be interesting to see what he goes with. But I think he'll go fairly strong, not full strength. But I don't think we'll see the youngsters, which I'd like to see, maybe Lancashire, Mikey Moore, those sort of players given game time. But it'll be interesting.
Yeah, Rinketics just messaged me and said he's got breaking news. Is it breaking news that Arsenal aren't going to win the league? Because we've heard that one before.
Son's out tomorrow.
Sonny's out tomorrow. Oh.
Why?
Have they said why?
I asked the group, but they haven't answered. But yeah.
Wow. So Sonny won't be playing tomorrow. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's a definite Werner then. That's a definite Werner start. Not that I'd quite happily see Mikey Moore replace Sonny, but I think Werner's an absolute banker to start tomorrow.
He might put Mikey Moore in. You don't know. He might do.
I'm hoping that's just resting him because he's only just come back, hasn't he? I'm hoping that's resting him rather than he's picked up any sort of injury.
Yeah. It might be just a little knock in training or something as well. So.
I mean, it could be that he's only just come back from injury and he might just be resting him because we need him at the weekend. I don't know. But I think personally, Werner will be the go-to left-sided winger anyway in Europe. And that's what I wanted him to do. But Werner's showing he's not even that good in Europe, unfortunately. So I'm hoping that they end his end his loan in January. Big up to you, Scott. It is looking more and more every single week. It's looking more and more questionable as to why we didn't put Jed Spence into the European squad, because Udogie would automatically, I think, get a rest this week in Europe, and Spence would play. But apparently, come January, we can change it around a bit. So I'm hoping that they do that. Big up to everyone coming in. Please do smash a like on this video. So basically, I think he will take. I think he'll rest Kulu. I think he should rest Kulu, but that's my opinion, obviously. I think Solanke definitely needs to play. I think Werner and probably Johnson start. I know what you're saying about Mickey. Dragusin, I'm not convinced. I mean, Robbie, what's your thoughts on Dragusin?
Look, against Karabakh, it was bad. Like 6 minutes in, I think it was, or something. He gets sent off. That's not a great first impression in Europe whatsoever. But apart from that, I think he's looked fairly solid. We saw him in a few games at the end of last season. The City game early, he was making some really good blocks. I don't think he's as good as Van de Ven. I don't think he's as good as Romero. But I think he should be getting some more game time, because look, Romero played well on Saturday against West Ham. But if Romero keeps playing poorly, I think you should consider maybe dropping him for a game or two for Dragusin. If anything, that will motivate Romero to want to work harder to come back in. Otherwise, he knows his place is pretty much nailed on in the team sheet every week. But I think Dragusin, as I say, there's the whole stuff with his agent as well, being annoying and constantly talking about different clubs and stuff. So I hope it works out for him. He looked good for Romania in the Euros, and a lot of his cameos at Spurs have been poor. But the first big chance that he got, European night at home, under the lights, and he goes and does that 6 or 7 minutes into the game. So yeah, I hope it works out for him. I don't think he's as good as some people say, but I think he's a solid option.
Yeah. Big up Bobby K. Good to see you, my lovely. Hope you are well. Lisa says, in the last time Mickey van der Ven played a lot of minutes on Thursday, he was way too leggy and passes and played terrible against Brighton. Actually, several players look gassed, so maybe they should play less minutes. Yeah, this is where the squad, I think our squad is a little bit short. If Zinchenko starts on Sunday, we're definitely losing. Here we go. Excuses already. Yeah, of course, designed to win. I never thought Richarlison could play on the left as well. I completely forgot that. I mean, AJ, I'd much rather see Richie than Werner. I don't know about you.
There's nothing online, Kate, about Sonny. Sorry,
no,
AJ.
Yet. It's not yet, but go on. Go on, AJ.
Richie's just got back. He needs time. So, yeah, I would give him the minutes. If you start him, take him off at half time. I'd rather, because he's just come back from injury, I'd rather start him and then take him off than put him on and then he picks up an injury and then you've wasted a substitution. So, yeah, he could be a good shout, but I think he'll go with Werner. It's what he's been doing. Werner's got to get something right, hasn't he? I mean, if you play him 1,000 times, he's got to do something at least once. He's got to contribute in some description at least once. So maybe that's what Ange is hoping. Maybe Ange is hoping that if I keep playing him and I just keep putting him on the pitch, something's going to happen. He's going to do something. The team are going to benefit from it. So, but about the Dragusin thing, I agree with Robbie, but I don't think Dragusin's had anywhere near enough game time, and playing at centre half is not. It's not a position you can come in cold at. You can't play your way into a game if you're a centre half. You need to be on it from second one. But when he did get sent off and we did go down to 10 men, we won that match, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so apparently going down to 10 and winning isn't for everybody.
I love it. Paul G says, do you think there's any truth in reports that Dragusin's looking to leave in January due to game time? Rinketic, what do you
think? Yes and no. Depends on which club and how much game time.
Yeah. Look, at the end of the day, if he wants to leave, he's not getting game time. let him leave. But I've got a feeling Romero might not be here that much longer, in which case he might get more game time. Angus saying, have you seen him play? He's crap. Yes, Richie is not my favourite player, but he's better than Werner. But of course, they did say
he's better than Jesus as well.
They did say last weekend that Odebert should be back this week. Now, whether he'll be back tomorrow night.
He was back at the practice today.
So he was training.
Yeah, but some wasn't.
So, is he in the European squad? Odebert, he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he could possibly play. Lisa says, I think for Dragusin, he hasn't had consistent enough minutes to be able to properly judge him. So for me, the jury is out on him for a while. I do feel he can be good for Spurs and help. I think that was meant to say. It cut off. Richie brings chaos and he plays with his heart on his sleeve. I do give him credit for that. Dragusin's a good defender, needs to learn our system better, but his defensive recoveries are good, but he won't get enough game time as Romero and Van der Ven are better. As I say, I do think Romero will be out of the door soon. Jim, I'll let you take this one. Do you think Ange's found his best 11?
Yeah, I think he has. I think he's found his best 11, but there's still a few question marks over some of the players that haven't had enough game time for me. You know, I think that he's got to integrate some of the youngsters a bit more than what he's doing. And I think Dragusin definitely hasn't had enough game time. He needs more game time. So, but, you know, as you said, Romero might go and they might know he's going to go and he's told him just hang on. So we'll see. Watch this space. But I think that he has found his best 11. But I'm a bit disappointed with some of the youngsters. I think he needs to integrate them a bit more. Like when we went 3-0 up, 3-1 up against West Ham, he could have stuck a couple of them on straight away. You know, that's what I think. I feel that he's doing wrong with them. I want to see more of Bergwijn, more of Gray.
Do you not think? See, I'm not sure about his best 11 because I'm not sure our best 11. I know you're going to call me a hater here, but I'm not sure our best 11 involves James Madison.
Well, I think concerning that, I think some games he will be in our best 11, and other games Sarah will be in. So, I think he does know which ones for which games are the best ones. I do. I mean, stands
Robbie,
out really.
We had a little bit of a mini debate on it the other day because I said I think Madison has been a flop since he came to Spurs, a £45 million flop. What's your thoughts on James Madison?
I think he's a player who's got a lot of talent, right? But he reminds me a lot of Ericsson, who'll step up and play really, really well for 10, 15 games a season. And then he won't play terribly, but he'll just be pretty vacant on the pitch. He won't do a lot. He'll get injured. And for the rest of the season, he won't really, shine. And, you'll spot him when you're watching the Spurs games. I think he's been good at times for Spurs. But at the beginning of last season, he was unreal. And at times at the beginning of this season, he's been really, really good. But he's just not consistent enough for me. He's not. So in terms of him being a flop, I'd probably have to say you can't argue with it. I can't say that he's not been a flop. I get that the price tag isn't his fault, but with the hype that was surrounding him when he joined Spurs, the amount of games that he's played compared to the amount of games that he's played and played well in, I think Kulusevski is the better midfielder in that number 10 position. I do. So in terms of our best 11, for me, I'd have Kulusevski in the 10, probably Sarah Bissouma or Bentancur and Bissouma. I think the front three, Johnson, Solanke, Son, I think he's pretty much gone with that for all our big games. And same with the back four. I think the midfield is what he hasn't 100% decided on in the Prem. But then no team in the Prem go to the exact same team, even if they don't get any injuries, but every single game. So I get the rotation. But yeah, for me, I think Kuman's a far better player than him in the 10. I like Madison. And when he does turn it on, I went to the Brentford game about a month ago. He was unreal. But then where was he in the Arsenal game? Where's he been in, a number of different games? The Newcastle game, the big games this season and certain games where he just hasn't stepped up. He hasn't played poor, but it's just been 6 out of 10 performances. And compared to to the players around him, for me, it's not good enough. So he wouldn't be, if we talk about like players who Spurs need to sell. I wouldn't say, oh, you've got to sell Madison and get rid of him, because he's a player with so much talent, you know. But he reminds me a lot of Eriksen. He's not consistent enough as good as he is.
Yeah, I mean, Rinketti, do you think he's been a flop?
No, I think the system does not fit him.
Okay, interesting.
Because he likes to have space. He likes to play those like 20 meters, 30 meters passes. But in front of him, he got Solanke 5 meters in front of him. He got another guy 5 meters from like beside him, and someone at that side 5 meters. And he likes to play like those long passes. He doesn't like to play those 5 meters, and he can't really do like his main game when it's those like small spaces.
Yeah. Was you gonna say something there, Jimbo? No?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Big up, Leo. Good to see you, my darling. And also Edwardson, not seen you for a while. Destiny coming in with a controversial take here. Udogie and Madison aren't good enough. AJ,
I disagree with that.
I disagree
I
with
agree
Udogie.
with you.
I the thing is, the thing is with Udogie is he does get a defender that gets caught out a lot is always going to have to answer questions because their bread and butter is defending. So he needs to strengthen in that department. But going forwards, Udogie is quality. I mean, how many fullbacks can dribble the ball the way he does, get into the box, and then have the wherewithal to look round and play a beautiful pass to an on-running midfielder to score a goal? Not many have that in their repertoire. So he's a good player. He needs to adapt. He needs to focus on defending. Madison, I think Madison's a very good footballer. Madison is a very good footballer, but he goes missing every now and then. And I do think the system we play, it doesn't allow him to show his full range. He does get crowded out. But since Kulu and Madison have been put together, Madison's game has upped because now the opposition have 2 players to worry about, 2 creative people to worry about. Whereas before, they knew anything that was coming through, anything that was going to be provided in the chance of goal creating opportunities, it was going to be through James Madison. And if you know there's only one person that's going to be creating for the team, you can mark them, deal with them, shut them out the game. Now there's 2 of them, and they're both completely different. Madison and Kulu are completely different players. Kulu is so much, in my opinion, so much more versatile than Madison. He can be utilized in so many different roles. He's got a lot more about his general gameplay. And I'm not doing Madison dirty. I'm not putting him down. I like Madison. But I think Madison is a luxury player. Kulu is a down and dirty, knee deep in mud. I'm going to fight for this ball. I'm going to make it mine. You're not getting it at all, player. Do you know what I mean? It's so they complement each other on the pitch. But as for saying they're not good enough, Destiny and Matters, I don't agree with that. I think they are, but there are definitely aspects of their game they need to improve on.
Yeah, I mean, I think Udogie's an excellent player. I think he's still so young. The way he came back at the weekend where he made a mistake early on and sort of helped them with their goal, and then he came back and I thought he played an absolute blinder. There was talks from Spurs fans at the start of the season, or the start of last season, whenever it was, that he's the best left back in the league. I mean, Robbie, what do you think of Udogie?
I like him. He hasn't had the best start to this season, a few dodgy performances, but nowhere near as many dodgy performances as other players in this team who are let off constantly. You know, I think last season he came into the club like Vicario, started brilliantly, and he will occasionally make a mistake. We saw it against Brighton, but I think what he gives you up top makes up for that. Like AJ was saying, I think, as I say, those runs, the physicality that he has as well. When do you see like fullbacks run through players and shrug them off like they're nothing, like Udogie? I think, you know, Saturday he was brilliant. If he can start getting that consistency back again, I think he'll be solid. But he was coming off an injury. Again, I'm not making excuses for him. You know, he had a poor start to this season. Coming off an injury, should have done better. A few good performances now, apart from the Brighton one. If he can start to build that consistency again, I think we'll have the same pair we did for the majority of last season. In terms of Madison, as I say, what I was saying, I do think he's good. I think luxury player is a great way of describing Madison. He will step up and do some outrageous things, 10, 15 games a season. But he's not that down and dirty player. He's going to get really physically involved in games, and he's not as consistent for me as Kulu. They gave me a good point as well about Kulu's versatility. Thinking about it now, he plays really well in 2 positions, the false 9 and right wing, and then he's just unreal as an 8 or a 10. And I've seen a lot of videos about what he's done in the midfield so far this season, and reading the stats, they really do back up what you see with your own 2 eyes as well. He's been unreal. So I think the way him and Madison complement each other helps. And I think Udoshi is a very solid player. There are a lot of players in this team, I would say, that I'd sell before Udoshi or criticise before Udoshi. So he had a very dodgy performance against Brighton. I considered dropping him for Spence, but he stayed in the team, stepped up on Saturday. That's the best way of responding. Fair play to him. And I think he's a good player.
Yeah, I like him. And like someone just said in the chat, Drew, I think it was, you've got to remember he's only 21. Angus, no, it wasn't Angus, it was Vindaloo, said, Angie's record is not great in Europe. How does that make you feel going further into the competition? Rinketic, I'll come to you first. Ask you what you think about that question.
I wrote in the chat. Last time he was playing Champions League, it was against Leipzig and Man City, and I forgot the third team. Well, he couldn't do anything with that Celtic team against Leipzig and Man City, so there's no point to bring up those kind of stats, in my opinion.
Yeah. I agree 100%. It's very hard to judge Ange in Europe because he was with Celtic, and even though they never won a game, they were meant to have played really well in all their games, but they were just up against teams that were a lot better than them. So I think it's very hard to judge Ange in Europe.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can't. People can't throw at Ange, oh, well, he's only managed in Scotland or this, that, and the other, and then say, but he's useless in Europe because he's useless with Celtic. It's got to work.
Well, we haven't lost in Europe yet, have we?
No. Controversial opinion here. Well, not controversial necessarily. I mean, Jimbo might agree with it. Madison's incredible. Bergwijn isn't ready to take up his position, not even close. Now, first of all, I don't think Madison is anywhere near incredible. But second of all, I don't think we're all talking about Bergwijn taking his position. I think Kulu is taking his position. I mean, Jim, do you think Madison's incredible?
Well, I think he's a very, very good player, Kate, and I think that people are a bit harsh on him. He's done really, really well in a lot of games for us, and he's had some off games. That's just a fact. I can't get away from that. But I think he's a very good player, and he's a very, very good player to have as a squad player as well. And Ange seems to be using him like that, taking him off and putting other people on. But I think he'd be a big loss if we sold him. I really do.
What about you, AJ? I mean, do you think Bergwijn isn't ready, or are you of the view that, for me, it's Kulu that's taken Madison's role at the minute?
I think in regards to Madison being incredible, I don't think he's incredible. I think he's a very, very good player. I think he's a very good player. And when he's at it, when he's full tilt, I think he's very, very good. And most clubs would want a player like that. The problem is he's not always at it. There are a lot of games where he's on the pitch and it's much ado about nothing. There's a lot of sideways passes and I'm not trying to do him a disservice, but when a player comes to you and they're highly regarded like Madison is, and everyone wanted Madison because he's a great creative footballer, and then he comes and he doesn't really produce, I think it's fair to be critical. I think it's fair to judge him harshly. If you've signed a player that is meant to score you 20 goals and they get you 3 goals, you're not going to go, well, maybe next year. You're going to be like, hang on a minute, we paid for a 20 goal a season, man, and he's given us 3.
Has he ever been a 20 goal a season, man?
No, Jim. I'm using that as an example. When we bought Madison, it was, this is our creative influence. This is the man that's going to take us to the promised land to rack up the goals. He's going to unlock doors. He's going to pull a rabbit out of a hat, and he's failed to do that on more occasions than he has actually.
No, I disagree, AJ. He's done that a few times for us.
Yeah, a few times. How many games has he played?
Yeah, but he's still done it quite a few times. I mean, when we went there 10-game unbeaten, he was like instrumental in that.
Yeah,
massively.
For them 10 games. For them 10 games. And other than that, Jim,
I think we're being harsh on him. I really do.
No, I'm not. I'm judging him based on his credentials, based on what he is known for, what he is allegedly capable of producing. It's like Son. I've been harsh on Son, but I've been harsh on Son because we know what Son usually achieves. So when a player all of a sudden isn't putting in the effort and isn't getting to the level that they usually do, and it's happening again and again and again, you have to start asking questions. I think he's a great player. I think Kulu playing alongside him really helps him.
Because the other thing you've got to look at, AJ, the other thing you've got to look at, right? A lot of the games he's done bad, the whole team have done bad.
Yeah, so I agree. But that's the thing. I'm not saying that. It's like people were calling out Kulu against Brighton. But I was like, hang on, the whole team was poor in the second half, and the manager. Everyone has to hold their hands up and go, we were shit. All of them were. But people, because it suits the agenda, go, you're saying Kulu's great, but where was he in the second? Where was the whole team? I'm not saying that the whole team weren't crap when Madison hasn't performed, because that has been the case. Like, if Madison isn't performing, the whole team don't really perform. You can only, if the ball is not coming to you, if you're not getting the ball in the areas that you can affect the game, that's not your fault. If you've got to go looking for the ball, then you're pulling yourself out of position. Then you've got to make up another 20 or 30 yards to get back to your original position to be able to influence the game. And the chances are you're going to get dispossessed by then. So I get what you're saying, but if you look at
the games that we've won, right, he's been instrumental in nearly all of them.
I don't disagree, but we haven't won as many as we should, and that's because Madison hasn't turned up. I'm not putting it on just one player. The defense needs to do its job. The keeper needs to do its job. But if you're not creating goals to win matches, the person who was signed to be the creative influence needs to bear the brunt of that, because he's not doing his job. If he's not performing to the top level, you have to be accountable for that. And if given the choice, if you're going to pick one of them, for me, I think they work well together. But that's not going to be the case for every game. But if you pick one of them, for me, it would be Kulusevski over Madison, as it currently stands.
Right, if you're going to say that, right, and I agree with you there, right. But the thing is, you've got to look at a lot of the wayward passes as well that they're trying to pass to him, and they're passing to their players and just messing up. There's been loads of games where the other players have been so wayward that he can't get into the game. So I agree. I think it's a massive, massive loss if we lose Madison. I really do.
I get what you're saying. I think Kate's got an agenda here, mate. I think Kate's got an agenda.
I don't see it. I never wanted Madison. I was fooled into thinking he was better than he was after 10 games. And for me, he don't cut the mustard for me. I think he's sulky. I think he's half in, half out. I think he only performs for probably a third of the season. The rest of the time he's either injured or invisible. I don't get it. I'd love to get an upgrade on Madison myself. I don't think he's that guy. I just hope Bergwijn can pick up his game, and then maybe Madison can be the one sitting on the bench. I don't know. He's just not for me. Hit the lights if you don't want Arsenal to win the league. I like it. Someone wrote something about Matters. Where was it? Kate should Madison start on the bench. I think so. Yeah, see, Lisa agrees. I don't get it, Jim. I get what you're saying, and I'm not singling out Madison because there's been other players that.
So if we're watching a game and Madison's on the bench, right, and we're losing a little bit in midfield, right, and you bring Madison on, he's a good sub to bring on, Kate, because he can do something to change a game.
I think maybe we need to start starting him on the bench to give him a kick up the arse to let him know that he's not guaranteed to start. I mean, we all saw when he took him off the other day at half time, Madison looked suicidal on the bench, and maybe that's what he needs. He needs to know that he's not a guaranteed starter and that there is competition for his place. But yeah, I agree with exactly what Drula said here. Madison looks good because of his movement, but he doesn't actually do anything with it. I think he's deceiving. I think, Jim, you've got an agenda. I think you're in love with him.
What's his assistant goals? What this
season?
Yeah, last season and this season.
Let's have a look. Madison's scored his first goal.
In a lot of goals.
When it's Bournemouth. Let's have a look. Oh, bugger off. I hate pop-ups. Premier League this season. What's that? What are these? Oh, he's had 2 goals, 3 assists this season in the Premier League. Last season, he had 4 goals, 9 assists.
Okay. And he was injured a lot of last season.
It's not bad.
Yeah, he was out. He was out quite a bit last season. So he's been involved in 7 goals in 8 games.
I don't think he's got terrible stats. I just don't. Availability is the best ability. Same with Richarlison, and we'll see what happens this season. But I expect him to get injured soon and be out for months because that's what normally happens with Madison. But Ellie did mention Dane Scarlett because he scored against Oxford. He scored for Oxford. Robbie, I'm not convinced by this guy. And this is what happens. They go on loan and have a good loan spell. And people go, oh, see, I've always rated Dane Scarlett. He's going to be brilliant for Spurs. Then they come back to Spurs and do nothing. I don't think this guy's got it. But what's your thoughts on Dane Scarlett?
Yeah, at first when he was coming through and stuff under the show, he was talking about being the next big thing. And, you know, he had Europa League game cameos and he looked good. I started to believe the hype. But over the last few years, you know, he scored a couple of goals in a couple of games for Oxford. And fair play, it's in the Championship. He's getting the goals. He's a striker. That's what he needs to do. But I think he was on loan to Portsmouth this season before in League One. And he didn't really pull up any trees there. He didn't do terrible, but you read the stats, goals and assists. And look, he's been a young player, as I say, for a long time now. There's a point where he's got to start really picking up the levels for me. And if you're struggling at Portsmouth at times, you know, and on loan at Oxford, apart from the last 2 games, I struggle to believe it. I struggle to believe the hype.
Oh, he dropped the mic and left. Robbie went, this is what I think, dropped the mic and just buggered off. Apparently, Madder's stats are better than Kulu's, according to David Clark. Jim, what's your thoughts on Dane Scarlett? I mean, you know me, I don't particularly rate him. Well, I don't rate him as good enough for Spurs. What do you think?
I don't know, Kay. It's very hard because it's one thing a player being in the is it the Championship he's in or the First Division? It's one thing being in that league scoring goals, and it's another thing being in the Premiership scoring goals. So really, I don't want to. I want to sit on the fence a bit. I don't want to say that I don't like him because I haven't really seen him in the Premiership enough. But I'm going to hold judgment because it's definitely a different kettle of fish scoring down there than it is scoring up there. So I have to wait and see when we see him in the Premiership. I haven't seen enough of him to put a judgment on him.
Yeah. What about you, AJ?
What about me?
What do you think of Dane Scarlett?
Dane Scarlett. I think he's probably found his level. He's never really done anything in a Spurs shirt that makes me think we've got a talent here. We've got someone that's going to perform, and that's okay to say. You know, it's not hating on him. It's just every player has their level, and I genuinely think that Scarlett. I mean, could he do well in a lower half Premier League team? Maybe. You know, only time will tell. But I don't think he's at the level to have a career at Spurs. And just what David Clark said in regards to Madders and Kulu, and Madders has got better stats, so he's better. You're forgetting Madison's always played in his favoured position, the position he's played in for years. Kulu gets deployed here, there, and everywhere. He gets used as a false 9, a 10, an 8, and out on the right wing, and he's got the same amount of goals and 1 less assist. So what you've done in your attempts to justify that Madison is better is actually show that Kulu is much more versatile and played in all these different positions, puts up the same numbers. So for me, all day long, as it stands, Kulu's the better player.
Yeah, I think big up Cougar Bear. I think he makes a good point. Madison's a casualty of the modern curse. Work rate has more value than ability. Even Man City are workmanlike compared to the beautiful football they used to play with Silva and Aguero. Julia's saying she's not convinced on Scarlett either. I think we do this. We send them out on loan and we go, yeah, this guy's good. And then they come back and they do nothing.
It's very hard to judge him, Kate, until he gets a run in the Premiership. So that's why my judgment.
Even when he's had little games for Spurs, I just don't see it. I just don't think he's got it. I've just got a breaking news thing coming up to say that Son is missing from the training. Today.
Brilliant news.
Yeah. Harry Kane and Robbie.
It's very hard to judge someone on a few cameos, Kate. It really is.
Yeah, well, I can only speak as I find, and I just
not unless they're spectacular and off the planet, and then in cameos they will do well. But it's very hard to judge a player on a few cameos and scoring some goals in a lower league. He needs to have a run in the team, and then we can judge him.
Scarlett's a decent player who's a good finisher, but it's just that Spurs are looking to players who have a higher ceiling, whereas he doesn't. Interesting. Kate rubbing off on AJ, so negative. Madison is and always will be a better player than Kulu, says David Clark.
Disagree.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is you can't just go purely on stats. You've got to go on the eye test. And I think it's not. I never really liked Kulu that much, but for me, at least at the moment, Kulu looks far better in the middle than Madison does.
It's not about who's the better player either. It's about who can work well in the whole team, against certain teams. There might be some teams you put Madison in and he's going to shine, and vice versa. I don't think it's about who's the better player. It's about getting it to work at the right time.
Kulu's good on the eye, but his contribution in the last 2 seasons have been one of no end product. Yeah, but I'm talking about currently. But Tom was very nice to put the stats in that Madison has had 199 appearances for us, 49 goals, 44 assists, which actually is better than I expected. So maybe I am being harsh on Madders. Maybe I need to.
You are, Kate. I really
give him a little bit more. I think it's because I've never particularly liked him, and I was told he was going to be this, that, and other. And at the minute, I'm a little bit underwhelmed. But
agenda.
He's absolutely. There's been games. He's absolutely been brilliant. When we drew with Arsenal 2-2, he was fantastic in that game. Yeah. I just think that sometimes we expect too much from some players. I think he's done really well for us and he's contributed well. And you've got to remember he did have a long injury and a bad injury, so he had to come back and work his way back in from that. I think he'd be a massive, massive loss if he goes.
I think you make a fair point, Jim. Secondly, I'm sorry, Kate. I think you make a fair point though that we've got 2 players, Madison and Kulusevski, who can play in very similar positions, and they're totally different players.
Yeah.
And instead of comparing them, who does this better, who does that better, we've got 2 players. If you're an opposition side or manager, you don't know which one we're going to start. If we're going to start both of them, they're 2 very different players. It makes our midfield dynamic and our threat up top. It makes it so much more unpredictable and dangerous because both offer different things. Like you say, maybe against a low block, you play Kulusevski against a team that's going to come at us. You play Madison or both together. So I agree with what you said there, Jim, about 2 players. They can both play in the 10, in the 8, Kulusevski on the wing. But yeah, both very, very different players. They both offer different threats, which is useful to have.
I think they complement each other as well, their styles, and they both. I think they both play better when they're next to each other because instantly you've got the opposition have more to worry about than just one key man. So I think both, and it's not going to work every occasion, but having the both of them on the pitch is a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Jim, you made that point the other day that Madders plays better when Kulu's next to him. I think that's what you said, which I do agree with. I do agree with that. Mario says, can we finish above Arsenal? Well, we know what Jim's answer is going to be.
100%. 100% yes.
Well, we can, but let me rephrase that. Will we finish above Arsenal?
Yes. 100% yes.
If they keep playing keep playing the dead football they're playing, then yeah.
I said the other day, right? If we keep playing the way we're playing and they keep playing the way they're playing, I am not in any way whatsoever worried if we finish above them. We will finish above them. Unless we drop off and they pick up, then they'll finish above us. But as it is now, we will finish above them.
I mean, not can we, because obviously mathematically we know we can. Robbie, will we finish above Arsenal, in your opinion?
See, Jim's just gone and been all positive now, and I've got to bring it down because I don't think we will.
My answer's no as well. So
I bloody hope so. I really hope you're right, Jim. But I think, yeah, they're not playing well so far this season. But you've got to think with the players that they have, they can be back from injuries soon. They're going to pick it up at some point. I think they're a lot more consistent than us. We've played far better football than them this season at times, 100%. But I think their loss against Bournemouth, that's their first away loss of the year. I think they're a lot more consistent in grinding out results and getting them. Yeah, I think they'll finish above us. But as I say, if we keep playing the way we're playing and they don't step it up at any point, I don't think it's crazy to suggest that we could. But I think they will soon. I think at some point it's got to start clicking for them this season. But yeah, they're going to grounds like Man City's, getting points down to 10 men. If we were down to 10 men against Man City, we'd stick the team on the halfway line and probably lose like 9-5 or something. So, look, I hope you're right, Jim. I love the confidence. I'm sorry to bring the booth down and stop the train for a second, but yeah, I don't see it.
Do you know the difference between me and Angus, right? Angus is saying when we get Odegaard back. If we lost one of our good players, I would still say we can finish above you. Our team doesn't rely on one player without any doubt.
Angus.
Your team relies on three players, sorry. Saka, Odegaard, and Saliba. Ours don't rely on just three players.
Oh, David Clark says there's more chance of Southampton winning the league than us finishing above Arsenal. That's actually not true because respectfully, statistically, we can quite comfortably finish above Arsenal, whereas Southampton have got zero chance of winning the league because they're rubbish. But AJ, as I said, mathematically, obviously, we can finish above Arsenal, but I'm asking, will we, in your opinion?
Honestly, no. I mean, last season, I said that they wouldn't win, and people.
Waffle.
Jim, so.
This season, I said before a ball was kicked that Arsenal would fall off and they would be in decline. That's going to happen. They're not going to finish anywhere near as close to City as they did last season. They're playing such tepid, boring football. Their manager is spineless unless he's having hysterical breakdowns on the side of the pitch. And from their world-class, amazing squad that we've been told time and time again by many Arsenal fans, it turns out actually what they've got is a decent team with three slightly better players. Because when you take Odegaard out, they don't have any creativity. When you take Saliba out, who's going to be missing because, he decided to maul a man, that they're going to be shaky as hell. When Saka has limped so much that he finally develops an injury and is unable to play, they have no outlet on the right-hand side. So your excellent championship-winning, title-contending, trophy-accumulating team is worth three men. And when they're not playing, we just hear excuse after excuse after excuse. So, no, fuck it. Yeah, Jim, we can, and we're gonna.
You've
convinced me, Jim.
I don't see what people say. I'm being serious now, right? I don't see what some people see. Like David Clark just says that Southampton got more chance of winning the league. We've played really well this season. We've just had a few errors that they need to cut out that have stopped us being higher up the table. Right? We should have beat Leicester. Should have beat Newcastle. We never. Okay, if buts and monkey nuts, but the performances were there, right? The performances were there. So it was individual errors that took us out of them games. Cut them errors out. I'm convinced we can finish above Arsenal, and I want to change my mind.
Look, what I will say is, Angus, you say this every year. It gets boring. You say every year you're going to win the league, and you don't win the league. So that doesn't get boring because we get to laugh at you at the end of every day.
What phase of their project are they in now? Phase 1469
exactly,
or something.
Exactly.
Something like that, Robbie. Something like that.
I get it. And fans are supposed to believe that their team can rule the world and that. But I think for me, this year it's a bridge too far. But I think we're going in the right direction.
Well, it's too far to finish above Arsenal.
Yeah.
Give me a break, Kate. It's a bridge too far, maybe, to win the Premier League because
they've got some good players to come back.
Because of City and Liverpool. But it ain't a bridge too far to finish above Arsenal. Not in a million years.
In your opinion?
Rinketic just done Angus dirty.
Yeah, he's only 65% sure though. Jim had a £20 bet yesterday that he.
I've had a bet already, Vindaloo.
And it's for charity. So don't try and entice him because we'll be destitute before long if he keeps doing these ridiculous bets. But yeah, I mean, Angus, you give it large every single game. I mean, when I said about you losing to Bournemouth, you laughed and that you lost. So I think, you need to look at yourself a little bit. 50-50 at worst. How many real rebuilds do you want? Is this your 100? No. The errors are exactly the same this season as last season. So our defensive players, especially our two fullbacks, haven't improved their defending. I don't agree with that, David Clark.
Yeah, we've been better this season.
We've conceded less goals. We've conceded less goals than
and you can see that the system, they're understanding it more now. I don't agree with that at all. If you can you might be able to give me stats on that in your favour, your argument, but from the eye test, I don't agree with that at all. You right? Oh, just chuck them down there, babe. I'll take them down a bit. So I'm more washing for Mum. Look at every team and you will see weaknesses this season. Yeah, exactly. We can get the best out of both of them to complement one another. There's room for both. I need to see more from Tottenham. I
need to see more from Arsenal.
Yes, Jim. Oh, we were all about to say exactly the same thing. Worry more about seeing stuff from your own team.
Look, to me, it's a no-brainer. If you watch the football we've played and the football they've played, even though they've won more games than us, they're only 4 points in front of us. We're meant to be having this terrible season, and they're meant to be this great Premiership, going to win the Premiership team. I don't see it. I honestly don't. There's not a lot between us, and we can 100% finish above them.
I'm getting grief in the messages from Smithy. Lee Smithy Smith just texted me and put, I've heard you're not keen on Scarlett. Well, let Oxford keep him because he is a baller. Yes, I said it, you negative Spurs fan. You can keep him, Smithy. Keep him at Oxford forever. Arsenal has spent, I think it's 750 million, is it? Something like that. And been in a project for 6 years. I want to see a lot more. Yeah, you could use it both ways.
I mean, look, if you looked at the projects, right, you would never believe they were in their 6th year of a project or 5th year, whatever it is, and we was in the beginning of our 2nd year. If you watch both teams,
yeah,
would you think that? Of course you wouldn't.
What I find weird,
we need to have more belief in our team and our manager.
What I find odd about Arsenal this year is last year I think it was 91 goals they scored. This year they look like they've changed their style of play. They look like they're trying to nick a 1-0 win. There's no bravery. Now, I don't know. Yeah. Do you agree, Robbie?
Yeah, they're a lot more safe when you watch them. I mean, even like last night, I was flipping between the Champions League. I saw them against Shakhtar. After about 5 minutes, I turned it off because I'm thinking, what is this football? You go from watching Spurs on the weekend although they, they've been contending for titles the last few years. You go from watching us on the weekend, Real Madrid and Dortmund, and you flip them on, and it's like, this is boring. It's about as slow as an NFL game. Honestly, it's taken like a minute for them to make like 2 or 3 passes. But I think, their fans are funny because they contradict themselves a lot. I've got an Arsenal mate who now is going, trust the process. Arteta's doing a good job. But you were mocking me and Spurs under Pochettino when we were finishing second and third and contending for the league for saying that your bottle jobs are not winning anything. And now you're saying the exact same stuff we were saying under Poch. And then when we call it out to you, you don't like it. But look, I think I don't think we'll finish above them, but I don't think they'll win anything. I think if they, get to first in the table at any point, they'll throw it away. They'll bottle it like they have done the last 2 years. And that will do for me. If Spurs have a good season, win a trophy, I don't care when we finish above them in the league. For me, if we can't win the league, I'm way more fussed about winning a trophy than top 4. Let them throw away another league title like they have done the last few years. Arteta trophy and start crying on the microphone about decisions being a disgrace against this team. We'll go and win a trophy, and that'll do for me. They throw away a league, we win a trophy. Be a great season.
Yeah, I mean, I predicted at the start of the season that we'd finish 7th, but if we do go on and win the Europa League, that will be magnificent for me. I don't care if Arsenal finish like 30 points in front of us. If we win a European trophy, I'll take that all.
We would have already done more if we win the Europa League, in my opinion, than they've done under Arteta over the last few years.
Vinky said, does Kate dislike Madders more or Bobby K? Oh, that's a tough one. Madders. I don't dislike either of them, but Madders I find more disappointing.
You love Bobby K, you silly cow. Right, Kate, can I just say, right, it's very the inconsistency in the things people write. Angus is saying, have you seen the injuries we got? But at the end of last season, Angus, when we were doing streams, you were saying you finished 24 points above us, was it? But you didn't take into account the injuries we had last season. So it swings and roundabouts. If you're going to be consistent, then you have to say it on both ways.
Yeah, you spent 600 or 700 million to make sure you've got a squad good enough to cope with injuries. So that isn't an excuse. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Arsenal fans are more inconsistent, and the referees they're calling inconsistent in the Premier League this season.
Exactly. They relied on Havertz and Rice last season, but it still wasn't enough. And Jesus and Sterling, they could get their chances. They've been pants up top. I think Rice has been quite poor this season as well compared to last year. Does anyone on the panel? Oh, go on, AJ.
I was going to say, was it? I can't remember. I might be wrong with this. If I'm wrong, please, somebody correct me. Was it Jose Mourinho that called Arsene Wenger a specialist in failure? Was you remember that?
Yeah, I do remember, but I can't remember who said it.
Does that not apply to Arteta? 750 million, 6 years, plays 1,375,000. And still being the nearly men, still finishing behind City. Does that not make Arteta an expert in failure?
Yes, you're right. It was Mourinho. And yes, I think this is what I try to get across when I go on the terrace and people go to me because they've got no argument. They go to me, yeah, but you're a Spurs fan. Don't talk to me about trophies. What I don't get is Arsenal fans that I grew up with, who obviously some of them I still speak to now, they consider Arteta to be a failure because Arsenal would never have gone 6 years or whatever, 5 years, whatever it is, without a trophy. They would be competing and winning the leagues and stuff. But Arsenal fans these days don't seem to have the same expectations for their club that older Arsenal fans had. I don't know if that makes sense.
But see, look, you've got to put things in perspective, Kate. Right? I don't think you can really knock Arsenal for not winning the league, right? Because it's very, very hard to topple Man City, right? And when Liverpool are on it, they're very, very hard to topple as well, right? So they've got two teams that are, when they're on it, it's very hard to topple them too. But the thing is with Arsenal fans, it's not all of them, Vindaloo, not all of them, right? They just make excuse after excuse after excuse. Right. Sometimes you got to stand up and say, look, we've done bad because of injuries. They've been a lot better than us. I don't get where they think that they seem to think that they should be winning the league. No, you shouldn't be winning the league. Man City should be winning the league. You should be fighting to win the league. But the way you're playing this season, right, that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah. I don't know where AJ's gone. I was going to ask this question. I mean, Robbie, I'll come to you. Does anyone on the panel think West Ham are a good team? And based on your answer, was that a good victory?
Well, oh, sorry, go on, Robbie. Sorry.
No, go on, Tim.
I was going to say. Well, I was going to say that they've got very, very good players, right? And they had a good transfer window, according to some people, not me, but according to some people, they won the transfer window, right? They've got some very good players, and they've got a good, the basis of a good team. But I think if they had Moyes there, they would be better than where they are now, right? I don't think they've gelled with this manager for some reason. I don't think that they've got to grips with what he wants, and maybe, you know, he's not the right guy for them, but they've got the basis of a very good team.
So was it a good victory?
It was, of course, it was a good victory. You know, people were saying before the game, "Oh, I'm worried about Bowen. I'm worried about Kudos. I'm worried about Antonio. What's his name? The one in the middle who starts with S. Souček, and you know, so yes, they've got a good team. So yeah, it was a good win. If they don't perform on the day, that's not our problem. It doesn't make them a terrible team. It makes it that they never performed. And did they not perform because we were too good for them? You know, too sharp for them, pushed them too much. Someone put in there earlier, they're not. They don't seem a very fit team, Kate. You know, they're not fit. At half time, there was a lot of them that were like gone. You know, you could see that they were. They weren't up for it. They never had the fitness we had, so that made a massive difference.
Yeah. I mean, what about you, Robbie? I mean, everyone said West Ham had won the transfer window, and they did. They made some great signings, and they've got some very, very good players like Kudos. But I mean, I still think if you win any London derby of 4-1, it's a great victory.
Yeah, any victory in the Premier League is a good victory. You know, sometimes when top sides over the last few years, like Arsenal, have gone against the West Ham or someone down the bottom of the table, and they've narrowly won, you know, 1 or 2-0. Everyone's went, oh, well done for grinding it out. We can't have the narrative that whenever we beat a bottom half of the table side, it's them being poor. But whenever we lose, you know, it's all us being poor. You've got to look at both sides. Yeah, West Ham. They were a pile of pygmy hippo feces. They were horrendous watching them. But we made them look worse than they actually are. We played our football really well. The tactical decisions, you know, by Andrew bang on. It's 4-1. They always step up against Spurs. It is their cup one. I've got a mate who's a West Ham. He doesn't shut up, you know, all year about this game. So it means a lot to the fans. Any win's a good win in the Prem. And I think, yes, they were bad, but just like against Man United, we made them look worse. And we took advantage of that. We took advantage of the spaces, you know, that they gave us on the pitch. And they have got some brilliant players. Kudus, Bowen, Paqueta as well. We didn't step up on Saturday, but some really, really talented players. Some that I'd take at Spurs, to be fair. They made some big signings in the summer. Vido, Wan-Bissaka. It's not quite clicking under their manager now, but yeah, just coming off a 4-1 win, they were heading into that game. Always step up against Spurs. I think it was a really good win. Is it a win that makes me believe that we're going to, you know, win the league and changes everything I think about the club right now? No, it doesn't. But I think it was a good win. You take the 3 points. It's on the board. Finally, as I say, we're playing well, getting a result from it. I think we've won like 6 games, is it, in our last 7 or something? So I take it. I take it all day long. But yeah, I think West Ham, Jim said it a second ago, I don't get their fans and their sense of entitlement over the last few years with wanting Moisey out, you know? He got them contending for the Europa League and stuff. Won West Ham a trophy. I never thought I'd say those words in my life. West Ham have won a trophy. And, you know, my mate was a West Ham fan. He went to Prague and said that was one of the best nights of his life. And then a year later, he was wanting Moisey out. I'm like, what's wrong with you? You know, you were in a relegation battle before he came in. So they've got a new manager in now. He's got better players than Moyes had, but he's doing worse. But anyway, I'm waffling. It was a good win. It was a good 3 points. Take it all day long.
The other things you've got to take into consideration, Kate, right, is they beat us and drew with us last year, right? Wolves lost to City with a last minute goal, right? Bournemouth beat Arsenal. You know, there's not teams in the Premier League that you're just going to walk over. It just doesn't happen. You know, any like Ipswich, right, are losing at the minute, but they're going to turn up for one of these big games and turn someone over.
It probably
You know?
gets us.
Right, but I'm just saying, in the Premiership, it's very, very, very hard. It's very unpredictable league because they're in the Premiership for a reason. There's only 20 teams in there, so they're the best 20 teams in the country. So you are going to see upsets. So you know, there's no easy game in the Premier League. So every game you win is a hard-fought 3 points, and we
Yeah.
beat them 4-1. So yeah, it was a good display.
Angus says, if they were to get rid of Arteta, who do you replace him with? You know, well, that's not really our job, but I think Sam Allardyce would do a job for you.
Southgate.
Similar
Southgate.
football.
Yeah, Southgate. Oh, please, that'd be amazing. On a serious note, I don't really know who you'd replace him with, but someone who can get you over the line, whoever that be. I mean, I don't give a monkeys. If Arteta wins nothing this season, I hope he stays there forever, because if you don't win anything this season, I think that confirms you ain't going to be winning anything for a while. But I don't know. I mean, has anyone got any ideas?
Yeah, Southgate. he's perfect for Arsenal.
I think
You know what? They didn't cut to the sidelines as well. They just showed Arsenal playing and they had Southgate's manager. You wouldn't be able to tell the way they're playing. There'd be no difference in the style of football this season.
Exactly. Yeah, and as Edwardson says, if Big Sam took Arsenal over, they'd be less boring to watch.
I don't want them. I don't want them to sack Arteta. I want him to stay in the job. I want them to give him a job for life because, as I've stated last season, I've stated it this season and the season before last, he is a decent manager. He is a good manager, but he's a watered down version of Pep Guardiola, and the dilution of Pep is never going to be as good as Prime Pep. So he's never going to get you over the. He's never he's never going to get you over the line ever, and he's proved that. How many more years does he need to? How many more millions? How many more years does it need to take to understand that Arteta is not the guy to take you on? He's done well.
He could win them the FA Cup or the Carabao Cup. I wouldn't say he couldn't win them one of them trophies, but I don't think he'll win them the Premier League after what I've seen this year.
Exactly.
He won't win the Champions League.
Exactly. I don't think he's good enough. He's a decent manager and he's done well. He's got rid of the bad apples. He's got rid of the deadwood. He's introduced I would say a better style of football. I mean, it was, but whatever they're playing this season is terrible. But yeah, I don't ever see him winning the Premier League. I don't think he's good enough.
Oh, Lee Smithy Smith has sent me a controversial message. He put, I am more than sure that if he stays fit, Richarlison will 100% get more goals than our £65 million signing Solanke. That, to be fair, so far, I haven't seen any much difference in him to Richie. Solanke 2 goals so far. Richie got 12 in 13 games that he covered for Sonny. He thinks Richie's going to be more prolific than Solanke. I would say absolutely no chance. Jim, what's your thoughts?
Well, I think this is another one, right? It's putting players up against each other, right? He holds the ball up really well, Solanke, and brings people into play, right? And I like Richie because of his shithousery, and he's good, really good in the air, and he just brings something a little bit different. But I think I don't think you can really compare the two. I'd like to see them both working together. I would love to see them both on the pitch together. I really would. So but look, I'm not a Richie hater. You know that. I like Richie. I like what he brings to our club when he's on the pitch. And I think he needs another run to get himself going again. And he's another one that I wouldn't sell. I wouldn't sell Richie. I wouldn't.
Robbie, what's your thoughts? For me, Solanke's levels above.
We need to get him fit and keep fit.
Do you know what? At first I started shaking my head because I thought not a chance. But when you actually think about it, can he score more goals if he stayed fit than Solanke? Yeah, he could. Is he a better player? No, not for me. Solanke does a lot more. You know, drops deep, holds the ball up really well as well. He's almost been playing as a false nine at times when I'm watching for us, and he is a good finisher when he gets chances. You know, 9 times out of 10, he's clinical with them, and I think he will bang a fair few. But because he plays the role that he does, he drops, you know, slightly deeper. He's not just your big man up top who's just there to finish the chances. I think Richarlison, if he does stay fit, could score more goals then. Because Richarlison, whilst he won't do all the extra off the ball work and the movement and hold up play, nowhere near as well as Solanke. Well, he won't do it at all. When he gets the chances, he probably will take them because he's not doing all that hold up play. He's getting into those attacking positions a lot more. Like in the first half against West Ham, Solanke was playing really, really well, hugely helped out the team. But because he kept sort of dropping back a tiny bit, when balls were being, you know, crossed into the box, no one was on the end of them. Richarlison would be on the end of those. So at first, you know, first glance and the tip of the iceberg, you think, no, Solanke's a better player. But it's not about whether he's a better player. Could Richarlison score more goals if he's fit? The more I think about it, yeah, I think there's a fairly good chance. But if he stayed fit, that's the big point of that question because he is very injury prone. But he had that run last season and obviously got the injury. So more goals, I think there's a chance. Is he a better player? No. But yeah, again, at first I thought it was a stupid question. The more you think about it, I actually agree. I do agree.
But do you know the other thing, Kate, is that people say, oh, we need more nastier players in our team that are going to get stuck in the net. And the one we do have, Richie, people want to get rid of him.
I don't want to get rid of him because of that, because I love the fact that he does the old shit housery. I just don't think he's very good.
I just think we need a leader. I think we need a leader on there, really.
Yeah.
A proper captain. I don't think we have a player like that. We've got someone to get stuck in and stuff, but, you know, Roy Keane, Patrick Vieira, I know you don't see players like that. Now, I didn't even see those players, but from what I hear, we need someone like that, someone physical, you know, commands the team, where we can see the goal, tell them where to be, what to do, rips into them a bit, that sort of, you know, player. Even if they don't rip into them, you know, comforting them, head up, chin up, we go again sort of thing. We don't have that player who picks the whole team up and leads by example or by what he does on the pitch for me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I loved Lamella. I know people say he weren't very good, but I always liked him.
The Belgian Hotspur, that's the $50 million question, if he can stay fit. But Ange just said that he's taking it easy with him this time and going to do it right so he does stay fit. So we'll see.
Yeah. AJ, question for you from Vindaloo says, name the top 3 managers in the league today.
I can easy.
What are we doing? Are we doing top 3 based on Premier League position, who I think are the top 3 Premier League managers? Because if it's who I think, you've got Pep Guardiola, you've got Arne Slot, you've got Unai Emery, who I think is a much better manager, much better manager than Arteta. And the new guy at Brighton, the way he's got them playing, the way he's with limited funds, they don't have anywhere near the budget of Arsenal. And look at the football they play. Look at the way they tear teams to shreds. They went, okay, we massively let it slip. We massively took our foot off the gas. But that's only half the job. The opposition still have to then put in a performance. And they did. They came back and they gave us a hiding. They put us in our place. We took liberties. They exposed that. So for me, that's 4 for you. What were you hoping I'd say, Arteta? If we're doing it on Premier League standing, then yeah, sure, Arteta's in there. But that's just by default, right? He's a terrible. No. I'm not gonna get ahead of myself. He's not a terrible manager. He's just not good enough to be a Premier League winning manager. I'm sorry, that's my opinion. And this lady, as I've said before, is not for turning.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, when you look back at the managers that Arsenal have had, they've had some phenomenal managers, and he's not in their class. I mean, who was the guy before him? Not before him, the one who was there for years.
Arsene Wenger.
Yeah, you can't put them two in the same breath. I'm sorry.
No,
you can't.
No, you can't.
I mean, Arsene Wenger is one of the best managers has ever managed in the Premier League. Not the best, but one of the best.
I think I agree with AJ. I think Emery is a fantastic manager. I put him above Arteta all day long.
He's levels above Arteta.
He is, isn't he? Eddie Howe, again, another really good manager. There were some good managers in the league. No one's touched Pep. But then I saw the other day on, I think it was Dermot's channel, they were debating who is the greatest manager of all time. And they had 3 there, and Ferguson wasn't there. Now, obviously, Pep for me is a fantastic manager, but for me, there's nobody to touch Alex Ferguson. He just did it consistently for such a long period of time.
He won 13 Premier Leagues and finished second 6 times.
Yeah, I mean, he was another gravy for me. I think if you go on trophies with the Premier League managers, if you were doing like just in the Premier League and you went on trophies alone, Arteta probably don't even get in the top 10 because you've got the likes of Pep, Klopp, all sorts of managers that have won things. But I mean, do you put Arteta in your top 3, Robbie?
Probably not. Probably not. I think Pep probably first, Emery second, and then I think you've got a lot of managers sort of manage like mid-table clubs. But if they were given the same tool, 700 million at a club like Arsenal, I think they'd do better than Arteta. Managers like that of Marco Silva, Fabian Hertzler for Brighton, Thomas Frank for Brentford. What they've done with limited funds and the clubs that they've managed, I think if they got the money that Arteta had, managed a club like Arsenal, the players that he brought in and stuff, I think they'd do a better job, and I think they would have won more. One FA Cup in like 6 years or something for Arsenal, and over the last 5 years, nothing. So it's all well and good contending for league titles, but if you've got nothing to show for it, don't get remembered.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, you had the likes of Mourinho and Conte as well, who've absolutely done wonders. But Ed M saying Bob Paisley,
Ranieri's better than him as well.
Yep. There was one more question. I'm sure there was another. Yeah, this is, I mean, Elliot, do we really want to go down this road of which Arsenal players you'd have in our starting 11? I don't think I want to go down that road, really, because we're going to have the whole Romero versus Saliba and Gabriel versus Van de Ven. And
breaking news.
What?
That Sonny was a little bit sore after the last game, and he's okay, but he had no intentions of playing him tomorrow night. So
precautionary, good.
Yeah. But can Frank manage with a team full of egos and winners like Pep?
That's the perceived. I was listening. Sorry, Kay. I was listening to what he just said about Frank, and that's the thing. Could he manage a big team like that? Look, let's be honest. I'm not going to say that Frank's better than Arteta because I don't think he is, but he's not in my top 3. That's for sure.
No. So obviously, let's get the score predictions for tomorrow night's game. Jim, we might do a show tomorrow and preview it. We might not. So we might as well give our score predictions in case we don't. I shall go first and say I'm going for a 3-1 Spurs win. Dominic Solanke to get 2, and not Brennan Johnson to get 1. Lucas Bergwijn to get 1 for us. Jimbo, what's your score prediction for tomorrow night?
Are we home or away tomorrow?
Home.
Home, aren't we? Sure. Yeah, we're home.
Okay, I'm going to go 4-0.
And who scored?
Solanke.
Jim, hang on. Before you give your goal scorers, did you not say on Monday that you keep making the mistake of putting a clean sheet?
I'm going to stick with it. I got a feeling. I know a lot of people don't like me having my feelings, but I got a feeling. 2 for Solanke, 1 for Johnson, and I'm going to go for a Romero header on a corner.
Oh, very specific, that one. Big up Kiwi Spurs. Robbie, what's your thoughts for tomorrow night?
I think it should be comfortable. Now, if we go on to lose games or drop points, I'll be kicking myself for saying that. But I think 4-1. I think even if we rest some players, they're not that great. I think Troy Parrott will score. I really wouldn't be surprised. But I think Richarlison will get 1 or 2. I think maybe we bring on someone like a Kulisevsky or Madison. They get a goal. I think Johnson will score. I think he'll probably start tomorrow, and I reckon he'll have a goal. Didn't score on the weekend, so get that run back on of scoring inconsistent games. But it should be comfortable. Probably won't be because it's Tottenham. But yeah, after Saturday's game, I feel really confident about this one. Even if we rest players, I think whatever midfield we choose can do a solid job. So 4-1 for me.
4-1. I'm loving these goal scores. Score lines. Score predictions. That's what I'm trying to say. Bloody hell.
Get your words out.
Yeah, not this prediction though. 2-0 to AZ Alkmaar from Anthony Clark. How do you say their name? Alkmaar? Alkmaar? I don't know.
Yeah, it's only because he's a gooner. It's only because he's a gooner.
Yeah, I know.
If he was honest, that wouldn't be his score.
No. AJ, what about you? What's your prediction?
If he goes with if he keeps the main nucleus of the team that have been performing and makes 1 or 2 changes, I think 3-0. I think if he starts making wholesale changes and he's swapping the team up like 4 or 5 players, I think 3-1.
That's what I'm going for, 3-1. And who did you say your goal scorers?
I don't know if I can be as specific as Jim. I mean, unless we start talking about the colour underpants the players are going to be wearing and
Well, I did get it
what part
right
of the pitch they're going to be scoring from.
I did get it right one week, AJ.
Did you?
You get the scores right 1 week. Yeah.
With the clean sheet?
No, it was 4-1.
Ah, there you go, Jim. There you go. But you were just missing the one. I do fancy Solanke. I do fancy Solanke to get a goal, and I think his efforts and his work rate and what he's done for the team this season, I think he deserves a goal. He deserves to be on the score sheet because the man has got a lot of ridicule and people going, "Oh, we spent 65," but they're not seeing what he actually brings to the squad. It's not just about goals. Yes, you finished the season with 20, 25 goals. Fantastic. Everyone remembers that. But the way he plays, his attributes, utilising him to the best of his ability, brings the best out of our players and the formation and the style we have. So, I mean, it's no wonder that he's playing. And since he's been playing in the team, we've scored more goals. We look more dangerous. You know, if he wasn't here last season and we weren't getting the chances that we're creating now. So, yeah, I fancy Solanke to get a goal. He thoroughly deserves it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And of course, there is a chance that Wilson Odeberg could play. He's been training today, so that could be interesting. I mean, we was there on his debut, and I thought he looked pretty good. But have you got any plans to go to a match anytime soon, Robbie?
Not at the minute. Not at the minute. Probably maybe in a few months. I'll look at going to one with my dad. I went to the Brentford game I think last month, so that was good. But yeah, I don't go to as many games as I'd want to, but I will go occasionally. And as I could do match day vlogs and things, but I just like to enjoy the day with my dad, Spurs fans and stuff. It's always good. I've got a good mate who's going tomorrow though, against Alkmaar. Every single time, I think it's like 7 Spurs games, and they've lost 6 and drew 1. So that doesn't fill me with confidence that he's going to that game. I said, give up your ticket and give it to me, because if we lose, I'm blaming it on you. But yeah, no games at the minute. No games I'm planning to go to at the minute.
We're very lucky. We're going to the Ipswich game on the 10th and meeting lovely Leo. He's sitting with us. He's coming over from Denver, Colorado. So he's sat with us. Yeah, which will be an experience in itself to be sat with Leo at a Tottenham game, because Leo isn't the quietest person. Jimbo definitely isn't the quietest person. So I shall be stuck in the middle with earplugs in, I think. But anyway.
Are you sat in the South Stand?
I think we are. I can't remember where we're sat for this game.
That's the best place to be.
Yeah, we sat in the north, we sat in the south, but I've got a funny feeling we could be in the east or west, but I can't remember without looking at the tickets.
So we could be in any stage.
Could be anywhere.
I guarantee you, Kate, you're going to be in one of them. You're going to be in one of those stands.
We're definitely in one. But Robbie, anything happening on your channel? Tell us about.
Yeah, just daily Spurs content. If you do want to check it out, it'd be hugely appreciated if you drop a sub, a like, a dislike if you don't like it. Do what you like, fair enough. But yeah, pleasure coming on, Kate and Jim. Good to see you as well, AJ. I do apologise about the Wi-Fi, and as well, I realised I finished speaking or saying a sentence about half an hour ago, and the delivery man came up and went when I went to rewatch it, it looked like I just said my piece like Alex THFC and just went back to you. I'm done, and just my mic cut off and everything just went. So yeah, I've said my piece. I don't give a monkeys what you lot have got to say. But no, it's great to come on. Good to see you all, and yeah, big up everyone in the chat as well.
Well done, Destiny, for going over to sub to Robbie. Please make sure you go over and give him a sub. Always great content. Jimbo and Kate going to be in the match day vlog. Yes. I'm like you, Robbie. Every time we go, I think I'm going to do a match day vlog, but I just get so involved in it all. I just don't want to get my phone out and do it.
You want to live it through your own eyes, not the end of the phone.
Exactly. I literally did one little video of some of the game, though, and it got nearly 7,000 views straight away, which my videos don't get anywhere near that. So, you know, it does work. But I just, like you say, I like to take it all in and enjoy it because it's not somewhere we go every week. It's good to enjoy it. AJ, yeah, we was there when...
and he did get us off our seats.
Yeah, because we was right near enough in the front row behind the goal when he in the first half. And he
when
Basuma
scored.
Yeah, he was.
I had to duck because I thought he was going to hit me in the face.
To be fair, I actually thought we was going to get smacked in the face with the ball. It was such a bullet, but that was a good game to go and see. Yeah, Robbie's one of the most consistent YouTubers out there. Please go sub, great content.
You're too nice,
sub to everyone.
Shut up.
Sub
You're
to
too
everybody.
Nice.
Robbie at Lily White Lane, Mile High Hotspur, who's doing things over there at the minute and flying high. Free Spurs boys with Bobby K and Cooves. You've got Ben at the coffee company. Make sure you go and sub to everybody because whether you agree with them or not, everyone puts in their work. So, and it's good to hear what different people think. But I was going to call you Ellie then, AJ. It's your voice. It must be a little bit feminine.
It's probably a lot feminine, but I don't have the grace or decorum that Ellie has. So, you know, I can only hope.
I do have to say, AJ, and I apologise, Ellie, for this, but AJ, I do like your singing voice better than Ellie's. I'm just going to put it out there. What were you going to say, Jim?
Answer Angus's question. He's put it in twice, so he obviously wants us to answer it.
Rank these players. Jackson, Havertz, Nunes, Solanke.
What on? What are we rating them on? Because that's quite open to interpretation. What on their performance? Are we rating them on what we like, what we appreciate as a player? I like Nunes. I really like Nunes. I think what he offers the Liverpool team, you know, and people get on his case, but his stats are really good. Solanke is the hardest working out of all of them. Jackson's actually been banging in the goals. I mean, what's Havertz done this season? Or unless are we judging him on last season, in which case Havertz had a decent, you know, he had a decent crack, didn't he? But I personally... I
tell you what, AJ, judge him who you would prefer in your team.
Yeah, Angus says who's the best player, starting with who you think is the best player out of them all.
Out of all of them, I'd have Nunes first.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Nunes, then Solanke, then Jackson, and then Havertz. I never rated Havertz for Chelsea. I think he's decent for Arsenal, but he's not pulling up trees. He's not. None of the other top teams would go, he's our man, let's go get him. So that's just my opinion.
That's why we love you, Robbie.
What about you, Robbie?
I wouldn't swap Solanke for any of them, so I'm putting Solanke first. Then I think Nunes for everything he does for the team. I'd then say Havertz and then probably Jackson. He's had a good start to the season, but if you're looking overall, that's the order I'd go with.
Yeah. Jimbo?
Well, I'm going to go with Robbie here. I actually love Nunes, right, as a player. I really do like him, but I think Solanke is more perfect for our team. So I would go with Solanke. And the reason being, not that I'm saying that he's better than Nunes, right? I'm saying he's better for our team than Nunes. I think he works hard, brings people into play, holds the ball up fantastic. Very rarely do you see him get knocked off the ball. And then I would have Nunes. And then I would have Havertz or Jackson. Can I say none? Because I wouldn't want either one of them. Can I say that?
You can if you want.
Yeah, none. Because I wouldn't want either one of them.
Ben says Havertz, Solanke, Nunes, Jackson. See, I'm with Ben. I do rate Havertz. I think he's a good player. But I would have Solanke, Havertz, Nunes, Jackson. Now, I love Nunes, but he misses far too many chances for me. And Jackson.
Not as many as Timo.
No, but I wouldn't.
No one
bloody
does
hell, I
so.
wouldn't even put him in the top 400. Timo, shit.
No one
But,
misses more chances.
No,
I tell you a stat, Kate. Last season when Chelsea played Liverpool, Nunes hit the post and crossbar 4 times
really.
in that game. Yeah,
Yeah, but he don't score.
yeah.
He's
But I'm
not
just saying,
clinical enough.
just a stat for you. That's all right.
But yeah, thanks for that. That's the biggest contribution you've made to the show today. About time. But listen, Jimbo, when are you back on us and on the screens?
Who? Me?
You.
Well, if I'm back with you tomorrow, I'm back with you. If we're on tomorrow, I'm back with you. And we are Tottenham TV. Pump up,
Yeah,
baby.
The pump up show tomorrow night. I'm not sure if we're back tomorrow. We're playing it by ear. We might not. We'll see how we go. Might not because we're doing the pump up, and I don't like to repeat myself too much. Robbie, do you ever do lives, or is it just a case of daily videos?
It's been daily videos really for the last year. I want to get back into the live stream, so I'll see what happens. If I do get back into that, as I say, I'll let you know. But at the minute, it's videos. I'm quite tied up with a number of things at the minute. So video, I can do it for 10 minutes, edit it, and then you can condense your thoughts in that as well. Because unless you're doing a panel show, for me, lives, it's like if you're going on about like for an hour by yourself, you end up waffling. But if I do lives, as I say, it'd be a pleasure to have you guys on, people in the chat and everything. So I'll look at getting back into them at some point, definitely.
Excellent. That'd be good. Thanks everyone for watching. Like I say, please smash the like on the way out. Thank you to AJ and Robbie for coming on. Jim, I'm going to let you finish the show because only you can do it.
Go on, Jim.
Well, big game tomorrow. This team, the mighty fucking Spurs, will win 4-0. Solanke will score 2. BJ will score 1. And Romero will score a banging header. And not unlike Arsenal last night, let's all play crap and sit behind the ball. We will go forward and we will be mighty because we are the mighty Spurs. Come on, you fucking Spurs.
Giving opinions with no regret, smashing the top bins like in the onion net. Talking the talk with Kate and Jim, and walking the walk, just listen in. The perfect match, Kate and Jim, getting at it. Kate and Jim are gonna smash it. Reviews, previews, opinions and laughter. Mix and transfer news, it's what you're after. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. Jimbo always keeps a positive spin, while Kate's Mickey has a name dropping. Gets you out of the blue like Lenny stop robbing, or she's just flip-flopping. Hell, this place is popping. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match. The perfect match, the perfect match. You just got to latch onto that perfect match.